I am one of the associate directors of admission here, but I'm also a Wellesley alumna, class of 2001, and I was myself an international student at Wellesley. I'm originally from Bulgaria. So it's wonderful to be in the position of coordinating our international admission, as well as allowing students from all over the world to learn about Wellesley. So I have some slides to share today, which hopefully will give you a sense of our campus and our community. And each of us will take about 15 minutes to go through our introductions, and then we'll take questions at the end. So Wellesley is an institution that prides itself on educating women who make a difference in the world. There are a few slides here to give you an introduction, a brief overview of our campus, which is a gorgeous set of lands. We have more than 500 acres, sprawling hills and valleys, and even a lake where students can sail and row and just walk around. It's a tremendously beautiful place with 4 seasons, right? Full disclosure. So we do have right now about a foot of snow on the campus, but it is beautiful no matter what the season is. It is a residential community, so our students are living and learning on the campus for their 4 years at Wellesley, and they are part of one of the most diverse college communities in the world. We're actually ranked number 5 in terms of overall diversity in the US. So given the fact that we intentionally do not have a lot of one type of diversity, that speaks for itself. So students coming from all over the United States and the world, and from all kinds of backgrounds as well. Actually, for more than 40% of our students, English is not the first language they learn at home. We have a tremendous representation of international students, students who are the first in their families to go to college, students who receive financial aid, so socioeconomic diversity, geographic, linguistic, religious, all kinds of perspectives. And that really matters because we are designing this to be an educational experience in and out of the classroom. So it is really important who you study with, not just what you study on the campus. And the idea is that you will be learning 24/7 from your professors, but a lot from your peers, even more so from your peers, in fact, and forming these very strong friendships and in a very supportive community that lasts throughout your lifetime. We are an undergraduate institution and a relatively small campus, but we pack resources that you typically would find at large research universities. So you can expect to do really high quality research on the campus and have very easy access to all those resources. So we have state-of-the-art technology and facilities. Showing here is one of our newest additions, our global flora facility for the study of living plant systems and environmental systems. And there's constantly new things and new and exciting things added. The great thing at Wellesley is that all of these resources are there for undergraduate students. So for example, we just unveiled a new telescope and a new dome in our observatory this fall. The astronomy faculty were out in the meeting with first-year students the first week of classes to introduce them to the facility, to invite them to look at the research opportunities. So it's very common to see faculty-student collaborations on research, very common to see students co-authoring papers and publishing sometimes papers before they graduate from Wellesley. So the access to all the facilities, anywhere from those telescopes to the museum on campus, which is partly curated by our students, to the special collections in the libraries, it's right there for you to utilize. So it really matters actually that we are entirely focused on undergraduate students. We are in this beautiful land and landscape of its own, but we are right next to the major college city of the world, Boston, which has more than 250,000 college students in our metro area. And so every fourth person you meet in Boston will be a college student. And we are connected to the city in many ways, including through a bus connection. So you can hop on our bus, which runs every hour to Boston and vice versa, and be there in between half an hour and 45 minutes, depending on traffic. It is a wonderful opportunity for our students to be able to be part of that college community and utilize all the great things that Boston has to offer. I should point out, if any of you are planning college research tours to the United States, Boston is one of the best places to start because there are so many institutions close to each other, so you can pack a lot of tours in a single day and discover a lot of different campuses. There are more than 50 different colleges and universities in our backyard. And so, one of these students probably does not go to Wellesley, but he might be taking classes at Wellesley, as well as our students taking classes at 4 of these institutions that are in Boston, including Babson, the Allen College of Engineering, Brandeis University, and MIT. So through that cross-registration collaboration, meaning that you can really sign up for any class at those places that you meet the prerequisites for, we expand the curriculum available to our students to more than 4,000 courses per year. We also get to share a research program with MIT, as well as our recruitment program with MIT. Not to mention a lot of collaboration between our student organizations. So the social life is, kind of in many ways connected to those institutions. Academically, to give you a sense of Wellesley's curriculum, we are a liberal arts and sciences institution, so we emphasize breadth as well as depth of study. We give students the opportunity to access a lot of different areas of study, more than 56 different majors and concentrations. More than 40% of our students would actually choose to double major, so do 2 majors or do a major and a minor. So combining different areas and interdisciplinary thinking is very much the mode of life at Wellesley, academic life. And again, there's a ton of courses that you choose from. There are some distribution requirements that you need to cover, and I'm happy to answer more questions about those that clearly outlined on our website as well. But essentially, alongside your areas of focus, you take at least 1 course in every major area of knowledge. So, if you are, say, an English major, you will be taking by default at least 1 science course with lab, or everyone on campus has to have a foreign language proficiency through the intermediate level. Everyone has to take a writing class their first year at Wellesley. So, a lot of requirements built in that make this curriculum very exciting, very flexible, and very, very useful in terms of skills that it gives you a very powerful package of skills when you graduate. Classes are small. There are 18 students on average, and 100% of them are taught by faculty. Faculty-student collaboration is a big reason to look at small liberal arts colleges, women's colleges in particular, pride itself on these amazing connections that, from the very first week of class or second week of class, your professor will know your name. Very often you will become a colleague to your faculty member on research projects, and you will receive amazing advising and mentoring from people who are luminaries in their fields. My advisor in my international relations major was at the time academic advisor to the UN Security Council. So he went on to publish the first history of the UN with support of Wellesley students who did part of the research with him. So it's very, very common to see these very famous people who are there to be your professor and your advisor. A lot of our curriculum emphasizes experiential learning. meaning projects and learning that happens outside of the classroom, including things like study abroad, which more than half of our students get to participate in, or having internships during the summer, mostly during the summer, but something that relates to your professional interests that you get to try in the real world. And a lot of them are actually funded by Wellesley. So when I was a sophomore, I got to be an intern at the World Trade Organization, and Wellesley offered me a stipend that covered my living expenses in the city of Geneva, which is has pretty high cost of living. So this was a wonderful opportunity for me to discover where my interests lie in the economics field. It turned out I did not pursue that path, but it was very, very helpful. I should mention, 2 years ago, Wellesley pioneered a model for career advising in the liberal arts. So we are trying to support students who are studying in that format and sometimes have very different interests, and helping them find great opportunities in the real world. So we now have more career advisors per student than any business school in the United States. So career advising starts from the very first semester. Students are working all the way through the 4 years with advisors that are both general or specialized in different fields, say, nonprofits or health professions or law, who help you navigate opportunities and graduate school applications and things like that. So over 96% of our students are actually employed after 6 months post-graduation. I should mention, as a women's college, one of the things we emphasize is gender equity, and you can definitely see that reflected in our faculty, who are 60% women. That is very rare in academia in the US. You see that at Bryn Mawr and a few of the other sisters colleges, but very few other institutions have more than a quarter of their faculty be female. So the kinds of role models that our students are exposed to differ in the faculty level as well. As a women's college, we have this really amazing history of empowering women and pushing society to recognize women in different ways, right? So from the very outset, women's colleges in the US were the first places where women could prove themselves as intellectuals and start making a difference in the world as trained professionals. We are continuing to reap the benefits of that history. It's a very mission-driven institution, so everyone on campus knows what our mission is. And we talk about this Wellesley effect of particularly working with students to provide them with leadership opportunities, and structure the organization in a way that it is run by students to a much greater extent than a lot of other places, so that students have direct exposure to leadership, whether they are running the residence halls on campus, or are part of the admission board, which if you submit an application, one of the readers would be a student. This doesn't happen almost anywhere else, to running various parts of the organization. So producing women who are confident in making an impact on the world and have also a pretty well-formed idea in what direction they want to make an impact. Students have vibrant social lives, and student life on campus is always busy and always have really, really fun things happening from our teams, our Division III teams, varsity sports. We're going to hear in a minute more about what is special about Division III varsity sports, to student organizations of any kind, publications, performing orgs, various professional interests, or some groups related to other campuses like the Wellesley MIT Ballroom Dance Association, but always inclusive organization, so you can join any organization you would like to. There are no sororities on campus, and of course most of the leaders of those student organizations are women, so that makes a huge difference in who you start imagining as leaders. There's a lot more I could say. I'm going to keep it very brief for today, but those are some resources that you could utilize to connect with us further if you have questions beyond today's session. Thank you.
Okay. Oh, this is terrific. Can I just ask you a question about something that always worries Canadian applicants, and I think US as well? SAT, ACT standardized test requirements for admission?
So all of our admission requirements are on our website, and I encourage students interested in applying to review them. We try to be very helpful with all the information we provide, but we do still require a standardized test at Wellesley, either the ACT or the SAT. There is no preference for either or of those tests, but they are part of the application.
Fantastic. And one thing that's sometimes confusing for Canadians, when you first mentioned it, you said liberal arts and sciences, and then later you mentioned liberal arts. Will you clarify that for us? Because a lot of Canadians think liberal arts is just arts, drama.
Yes, right. So, the term liberal arts means neither liberal in the political sense of the word or artsy. The full term is liberal arts and sciences, meaning that it is an education that encompasses all the fields of human knowledge, from the arts to the sciences. Liberal arts actually originated in ancient Greece. That was the educational format for free people at the time. They had to study at least a little bit of, every area that was in existence at the time. Obviously now we have many more of these areas, but it is designed as an education. It's very specific to the US format. There are very few places outside of the US that offer liberal arts and sciences experiences. And it is sort of the hallmark of US education. If you look at some of the oldest institutions in the US, like Harvard or Penn, their undergraduate programs are liberal arts and sciences. We feel that it has a particular relevance for the 21st century because of that broad set of skills that students emerge with. No matter what your major is, you're going to emerge knowing how to write well, knowing how to think critically, knowing how to interpret data, to work with quantitative information, to do primary research, to collaborate with people, and to also be creative in putting pieces of different fields together so that you can actually position yourself for a successful career and a leadership in a particular field. We feel there's so much change going in today's economy. 40% of the jobs that exist today are predicted to be completely different or non-existent 15, 20 years from now. I was just listening this morning on the radio how in the investment world, there are profound changes happening around AI, starting to replace a lot of analyst positions. So, how you think about your career in the future will be different and require actually that broad set of skills and the way to combine different areas and to create new areas even in a particular field.
And I think in today's world, a broad background is necessary. Certainly writing skills, even if you're going to be a doctor, you need to be able to write. And you mentioned your pre-health advising and pre-law. And you also have mentioned MIT, which we've all heard of. Could you tell us a little bit about Olin and Babson, which might interest some of my young women?
Babson and Olin are in our backyard, almost literally. They are a 5-minute drive away from us here in the town of Wellesley. Babson is a school focused on, a college focused on business. So both in their undergraduate programs as well as their graduate programs, they focus on business. They are particularly strong in entrepreneurship, actually one of the top programs in the US on the graduate level. So a lot of our students who are interested in the business world might take a class or two at Babson. Olin is a very innovative engineering school with focus on green engineering and environmentally sustainable technology. So it's a relatively new school, but it has some of the some unique programs that you may not find anywhere else around green engineering. And so the combination of those two institutions is also powerful because you can do a certificate of engineering and a certificate of sustainability by taking classes at Saxon and Wellesley.
Terrific. Thank you very much, Milena.